Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to another week of Children's Church. Today, we are going to read 2 Samuel chapter 5, verses 17 to 25. In this Bible passage, David is the new king and his enemies are angry. Many years prior, David killed a giant named Goliath, and now the people from Goliath's country wanted to kill David. David asked God very specific questions about how to battle these enemies, and God gives him guidance by telling him what to do and by marching ahead of his army in the treetops. So we are going to read this story and find out how much we need God's guidance. When the Philistines heard that David had been anointed king over Israel, they went up in full force to search for him, but David heard about it and went down to the stronghold. Now when the Philistines had come and spread out in the valley of Rephaim, so David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go and attack the Philistines? Will you hand them over to me?" The Lord answered him, "Go, for I will surely hand the Philistines over to you." So David went to Baal, and there he defeated him. He said, "As water breaks out, the Lord has broken out against my enemies before me." So that place was called Baal. The Philistines abandoned their idols there, and David and his men carried them off. Once more the Philistines came up and spread out in the valley. So David inquired of the Lord, and he answered, "Do not go straight up, but circle around behind them and attack them in front of the balsam trees. As soon as you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the balsam trees, move quickly, because that will mean the Lord has gone out in front of you to strike the Philistine army." So David did as the Lord commanded him, and he struck down the Philistines all the way from Gibeon to Gezer. So that's pretty intense stuff. We always do need God's guidance, no matter what we do. He might tell us in different ways. We just have to be willing to listen and learn from it. So when we say we need to learn to need God's guidance, that means we need God to help us know how to make the best choices in our lives. We'll hear a true story about someone named David, as we did just now. God put a surprising sound in the tree to help David know what to do. So let's talk a little bit about what we've seen in trees. Maybe you've seen birds or squirrels, maybe a tree house or a rope swing, or maybe a nest or litter in some way, shape, or form. We've seen all kinds of things in trees. David didn't see anything, but he did hear a strange sound. That was God's way of helping David know what to do. We need God's guidance, and we can ask for help at any time. So we don't always know what the best way to go or the best thing to do is. We need a guide, which is someone who will help us when we don't know where we need to go. So take a moment and share about a time you were lost and didn't know where to go. Be sure to share who helped you find your way. When we have our eyes closed or we're not looking in the right direction, we're never going to know which way to go. We always need to keep our eyes peeled open. If we get lost or need a new direction, we will always be able to find our way. So when we feel lost or we just don't know what to do, we always can ask. Have you ever been lost or confused? Take a moment and talk about it. If you've gotten lost, you're not the only one. We are going to hear a story today about a friend who has a similar story to mine. Even adults get lost sometimes. Have you ever heard mommy or daddy getting frustrated at a GPS? Happened to me once. Have you ever got lost in a store from your mom and dad? Happened to me once. So let's take a moment and we are going to watch a video. And it's called Isaac's Story. So let's see what happens to Isaac and then we'll talk a little more about that.
This is Isaac. He's 9 years old.
I mixed Batman and Dark Robin up, so this is Dark Man and Bat Robin.
Guess what? We're going to get to know Isaac and his family really well. They're so much fun to hang around with. Isaac is a creative kid who likes playing at the park, building Legos, and even composing music on the piano.
Isaac composed his own piece, and he called it Night of the Ninjas.
One of their favorite things is to go to the park. They wouldn't miss an adventure like this. One time, Isaac had an adventure that made him really scared. He needed God to show him exactly what to do when he got lost. Let's let Isaac tell you his story in his words.
We got in the car and we were going to go shopping at the store. And then when we were in the store, I saw something cool and I went over to look at it. And then when I went back to go back to my mom, she was gone. I was really scared. I felt a little sad and I felt like I was going to cry. I was thinking that I knew my mom would find me, but I just didn't know when. I talked to God and asked him for help.
Isaac didn't know what to do, so he asked Jesus for help and direction.
There was a dressing room right there, and there was a lady there, and I asked her, I can't find my mom, can you help me? And she said yes. I knew that was a lady who worked there because she had a badge, and she said on the loudspeaker, Robin, can you please come to the dressing room? I was really happy when I saw my mom. I ran to her and gave her a big hug.
In the Bible, Book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 6, it says, "He will show you which path to take." That doesn't just mean when you're lost in a store. Whenever you aren't sure what to do, turn to God.
What do you think about how Isaac reacted about being lost? Did he seem scared? Did he seem calm? Did he panic at all? Some key things to think about. Why do you think he asked God for help? Why do you think he asked the lady who worked in the store for help? In the video, it says, whenever you aren't sure what to do, turn to God. So what's one thing you could turn to God for? Isaac needed guidance to find his mom. God and the lady who worked at the store helped Isaac find his mom. We all need God's guidance. So now we're going to do a little craft. I already went ahead and did one up just to show you how you can do this at home. What you're going to need is a Bible, some construction paper, markers, and scissors. What you're going to do is you are going to trace each of your feet on one piece of paper. Depending on how big your foot is, you might need a piece or two to trace a foot. Next, you're going to stack a few pieces of those construction papers to be able to cut out around a couple of your feet. Next, what you're going to do, you are going to copy the words from James chapter 1, verse 5, and Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6 on those feet. You'll see what I did here is I put a couple of words on one foot and the rest of it on another foot. Depending on how big your feet are, you may not be able to put as many words as I did, and that is okay. You can always decorate your feet with some doodles or designs or stickers. Anything you want to do. The choices are endless and it's up to you. What you're going to do at the end is you can hang your footprints on a ceiling or on a wall to help remind you that God's guidance will always help you find your way. And in our Bible story, David needed God's guidance as he headed into battle, and God guided him with the sound of marching in the treetops. When you hang your footprints, you'll have your own high-up marching to guide you. Think about, how do these verses guide you? There can be many different ways. And as you look at them, think about other ways that God can help guide you and how you can ask God for guidance. Our footprints can remind us to trust Him to guide us instead of making up our own way and pray when we're not sure what to do. We can talk to God whenever we don't know where to go or what to do, even when we're worried, scared, or sad. So let's learn a little prayer to help us remember that. When I don't know where to go, God, I'll talk to you. When I don't know what to do, God, I'll talk to you. When I'm worried, scared, or sad, God, I'll talk to you. Whatever you need help with, we can ask God because He will always show us His guidance. And He loves to give us His guidance. Thanks be to God. Thanks for joining us this week, and we hope that you have a great rest of your weekend.